What's up, guys? Welcome to the AcidDropPodcast. I'm Angel. On today's episode, we're gonna get into a little bit of everything: the NFL, NBA, and some MMA. So to get started, we're gonna talk about the Steelers versus the Browns. Man, I don't know if y'all saw that game, but the Browns did work on the first quarter. I think they were up like 28-0. Man, the Steelers couldn't get anything going. They fucked up on the very first play of the first quarter, man. The very first the very first hike, the center overthrew it to Ben Roethlisberger. Uh, The ball landed all the way down to the end zone, and man, two Steeler players could have caught that, but instead of falling on top of the ball, they let the Browns defense catch it, or not catch it, but like just fall onto it, and that just gave the Browns momentum. From there, you know, I think Ben came back on the next offensive possession for the Steelers. Um, Ben threw a pick, and then from there, the Browns scored again, so they were up 14-0. And I mean, the momentum had already changed by then. I mean, they could have came back, but I mean, by the time the Pittsburgh were able to be on the board, I mean, it was already too late. It was already like 35-10 on the first half or something like that. And I mean, after that, like you really can't come back on anything like that. I mean, you can, but like I said, all the momentum, the Browns had all the momentum. Steelers felt like they were kind of just done with it. I mean, give up an easy touchdown like that where you hike the ball and it goes all the way down to the end zone. Steelers, I mean, the Browns, just fall on top of it, quick, easy touchdown. But the game that I want to get into, which is my favorite team, is the Ravens versus the Titans. Man, I was scared as fuck. They were down like 10 to nothing, 10 to nothing against the Titans like on the first quarter, but then the Ravens came back, did their thing, tied it up 10-10, and then they got another touchdown which gave them the lead. I think it was like 17-10 or something like that. But man, Lamar had a good game. He had 179 yards, for passing. Although he did have an interception. I mean, nothing major came out of it. He had a good rushing. I mean, obviously Lamar, man, you can't really stop him unless you keep him inside the pocket, which although teams know to do that, but at the same time, a quarterback like Lamar, who's quick on his feet, able to run around, you really can't stop that, man. I mean, that's my QB right there, man. Like that's he's cold. He's cold, man. Like I said, you really can't stop that. Carried for 16. He carried 16 times. Got 136 yards. That's crazy. That is crazy with the touchdown and everything like that. But shout out to Marquise Brown, man, who had a freaking monster game. 109 yards, seven receptions. Although he didn't score a touchdown, I mean, he still did his thing. He kept the offensive pace. You know what I mean? He was able to. I mean, He's just a good weapon for Lamar, man. That man's crazy. Now moving on to the Buccaneers and the Washington, man. I know a lot of people didn't think Brady was. I know a few people who didn't believe in Brady, who was saying like, nah, man, like his time is up. He's already like 40, like 43, I think, pushing 44. But I mean, man, that you can't don't bet against the GOAT, man. Do not bet against the GOAT. He showed you time and time again that he can lead a team to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, even win a Super Bowl, probably with not a stacked receivers or anything like that. But man, that Buccaneers offense is crazy. That Buccaneers offense is crazy. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't bet against them. I don't know why they didn't pick them. I don't know why a lot of people had doubt. on Tom Brady. I feel like it's just because of old age and everything like that. But I mean, still, man, like that man's still doing work, man. Like to be like 40, I think he's 43. I might be wrong, but I think he is. Here, let me check real quick. Let me check. Tom Brady. Yeah, he's 43, man. To be doing what he's doing, that's crazy. Threw for 381 yards, man. Like you can 2 touchdowns. Like, come on, man. Like there's nothing you can do about that, man. Like how the fuck are you gonna stop Tom Brady, man? Like, you give him Mike Evans, man, who who did 119 yards for 6 receptions. Chris Godwin, 79 yards, 5 receptions with a touchdown. Antonio Brown, man, that combination. You saw that a little bit in the Patriots, before obviously what happened. They had to let him go and all that stuff. But then man, he came back doing his thing with Tom Brady, man. Like you you cannot give Tom Brady a receiver like that and act like he's not going to produce. Another thing I want to talk about. I mean, I did want to get into the Bills and the Colts because that was a really good game. I really thought the Colts were gonna win because I mean, no, I'll take that back. I knew the Bills were gonna win, but at the same time, like you know, the game was close. I mean, they won by 3 points. You know, the Colts were doing their thing, Bills were doing their thing. I really don't know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really not too familiar with any of those two teams, but I was watching the game, just to like, obviously, I mean, I don't want to say I'm watching it just because of the playoffs, but I kind of am just watching it because of the playoffs. Because I mean, like I said, the Bills nor the Colts are my team. My team is the Ravens, and I mean, like, that game was on. I happened to watch it, and I was like, holy shit! Like, I know a friend of mine who goes for the Bills, and I mean, I was just like, I was just texting. I'm like, man, like yeah, y'all's QB is cold and all that stuff like that, but hey, they're having trouble with the Colts. I don't know if they're gonna get past, but I mean, the Bills did their thing, and you know, they beat the Colts, moving on to the divisional round and stuff like that. Hopefully, I mean, now I think no, now they're up against my Ravens, so I mean, I'm gonna talk my shit with them and stuff like that. Hopefully my Ravens go through and stuff like that. But hey, we'll see this Sunday. Man, I really want to talk about the Saints, nor the Bears, nor the Rams or the Seahawks, because I mean we already know the outcomes of the. Not actually the Rams versus the Seahawks. Actually, that surprised me. I thought Russell Wilson was gonna go do his thing, but obviously the Rams have a really good defense, and I mean, what can you do? I'm not. I think d- I think one of their main defensive player got hurt on the Rams. Like I said, I'm really not too familiar with anybody besides like, obviously, the Buccaneers because of Brady, the Saints because of Drew Brees, you know what I mean? But yeah, I know that the Rams lost one of their defensive the main like the big here, let me check. I'm sorry. Hold up. Yeah, Aaron Donald. I know he got hurt and everything like that. I mean, I'm not sure if he came back. I didn't really watch the game, but um, I really did think that the Seahawks were going to come through. Obviously Russell Wilson is crazy. I mean, like I said, the Rams do have a really good defense. They held him down just to 174 yards. To do that to a quarterback of that caliber, that's crazy. That is really crazy. Because he did have 2 touchdowns, but he also threw for an interception. But like I said, I mean, like if you keep Russell Wilson underneath like 300 yards, 200 yards, which he is capable of, which in my opinion, I feel like he's like top 4 quarterback. Yeah, top 4 quarterback. Like, see, in my eyes, I feel like I might be biased because obviously the Ravens are my team, but I have Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes close first, but obviously like no, Patrick Mahomes, like right underneath him, not by a lot, but his career is just starting. I mean, obviously like the accolades and all that stuff help Tom Brady, stay on top. But I feel like oh well after Patrick Mahomes, I have Lamar. just because obviously I'm a Ravens fan, but I might get some hate because I mean obviously there's Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, but I have Russell Wilson as my fourth for this year. For this year, obviously, like they probably did bad and everything like that, but hey, that's just my opinion. But what I do really want to talk about is the NBA, man. That's what I really like to. That's what I mostly look at. You know, the Heat versus the Sixers. Like I want to get started with the Heat versus the Sixers, man. That was a crazy, crazy game. They went to overtime, 76ers pulled through. I know they were doing oh man, that game was really good. Here, let me pull up some stuff real quick. Just because I don't want, obviously, I was watching all these games. I want to refresh my memory again. I know, oh yeah, like see, like Duncan Robinson had a crazy game. Shout out to my boy Tyler Hero who scored 34 points. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. I think this is the second year, I believe. And I mean to be going off like that. I mean, yeah, although they didn't win, but still, like, they didn't have Jimmy Butler, they didn't have Bam Adebayo. For them to nor did they have Goran. So in order, like, to see them lose by three without missing like three of their key players against a really good Philadelphia team at the moment, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. You have to, the Heat fans. I know that y'all are like, I know y'all right now are ecstatic because last year y'all went to the finals and stuff like that. But I wouldn't see this. I wouldn't see this loss as a like, damn, like they like what's it called? They play bad or whatever like that. But no, because they were missing three key players, and I know this was Ben Simmons' first game back from his injury, so I'm pretty sure he didn't get he didn't contribute as much. He only got them 5 points and anything like that. But it is due because of the injury. But he wasn't on minutes restriction or anything like that. I think he played for 32 minutes or something like that. But man, I saw this video online that where this guy was talking shit about Danny Green because he was like, "Oh, he went 0 for 9, 0 for 9," and he was just like, he's like, I got 3 rings," and today he proved. I feel like that gave. I'm not gonna say that gave him motivation, but I feel like it did because that man dropped 29 points, man. I know he was hot, like he was cooking from the 3 point line today, which was crazy. Like I mean, my team, we'll get to that in a bit, and I'll talk. I like but to see him like whenever like it kind of reminded me of like on how he played with the San Antonio Spurs, and that's my team right there. Like it kind of gave me like the Danny Green from the Spurs age. I was like, oh shit, like yeah, there's Danny Green. I know he still has it, but I mean he does whenever he's off. That man is off, man. Like I would rather just like bench him instead of like keep feeding him the ball. Like hopefully he gets it going. Because I mean, man, that man if he sees like once he misses 3 or 4 shots, man, that's game. Like you're not getting a bucket from Danny Green. That like Joel Embiid did his thing, man. That man had 45 points, 16 rebounds. He had himself a good double double, which was crazy in just 39 minutes, man. Like I don't want to say in just because I think both of these teams were down just to yeah to 7 and 9 to 7 and 9 players or something like that because of COVID restrictions and stuff like that. I know they're still doing COVID testing. I know Seth Curry is out. I know they were missing him because Seth Curry is lethal from the three, man. That man is lethal. I mean, a lot of people give props. I mean, a lot of people just like to say that he's just riding behind his brother's fame or whatever like that. But nah, man, that man shows you why he's a baller. And it sucks because the Mavericks let him go. I know he's a liability on the defense and everything like that, but man, like that he makes up for it on the offensive end. And I mean, you could make a point that the Sixers were missing him for his offensive side, but I mean, like I said, Joel Embiid picked up the slack for them, scoring them a monster 45 points on today's game. And then moving on to the Nuggets and the Nets, man, I don't really know. I really don't know what's going on with the Nets, man. I know that they won, but right now they're really struggling because they're not sure when Kyrie's coming back due to like obviously like personal reasons and stuff like that. He wasn't playing. I think he's out for the remainder of the week. They're not sure when he's coming back, which is crazy. Like a lot of people were saying like, oh, like you don't want Kyrie on your team because of the toxic things that he brings to the team. But at the same time, I feel like, I mean, a lot of people like to manipulate, like like the how do you say it, like they want to control the narrative and stuff like that, make Kyrie look like a bad guy because I mean, just because he missed a few, like, yeah, I get it, you're getting paid to get to play basketball and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, man, you can't act like you can't get like that. It's wrong to ask for some days off or something like that from work. Like, yeah, it is wrong because like at a point it is wrong because he didn't let Steve Nash know, which is his head coach that he brought into him and KD, and he just texted his teammates and it just caught Steve Nash by surprise, and he's not keeping in touch with them and all that. But at the same time, like, what you're gonna get from Kyrie when he comes back, man. He's gonna drop 40 points, 30 points, 50 points. You know what I mean? That man's a bucket. That man's a bucket. So I mean, like, I feel like that's why. I mean, yeah, you don't want to be too lenient about that because obviously, like, team chemistry might go down and stuff like that. But like I said, I feel like his teammates know that whenever he comes back, I mean, he's just gonna keep getting them buckets. I know KD went off on the second half of that game. I was watching a little bit of it. um, I know that they were tied. I think like I think it was like the last 5 minutes of the game they were tied, and just obviously KD took over, dropped back to back 3 pointers or something like that, just to give them a 6 point lead. And then from there, obviously, like, you really can't do anything. But at the same time, Jamal Murray was struggling in the beginning of the game, but he ended up picking up the slack in the second half of the game, dropping 20 points with 4 assists. And then obviously you got your big man Jokic dropping 23 points with 11 assists. But man, you really can't do anything when KD's dropping like 34 points, 13 assists, just like a rebound shy off of a triple double, which is crazy. Excuse me. But yeah, like, Karis LeVert is having himself a good season. Just dropping 20 today on 26 minutes, man. But whenever you have somebody like KD on your team, you really like, how are you gonna stop that man? I think he's listed like a 7 footer, with a long ass wingspan. Like, how can you block him, man? Like, once he gets it going, like, you just gotta hope he misses at one point, you know, and then from there, obviously, just try to transition it into offense. But another game that I do really want to talk about is the Lakers versus the Rockets, man. The Lakers have been going off recently. I think they're on top of the Western Conference, the Western Conference. I'm sorry, they're on top of the Western Conference, and I mean, they're showing you why they were the NBA Finals champions. Like, the Houston Rockets right now are struggling, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with that team. I'm really not following them, but as we get going into this podcast, obviously I'm gonna keep up more and more and more with all these other teams, and not just like choose my favorite teams to watch. I'm gonna try to keep watching all these games, obviously, so I can bring y'all the best content to y'all. But yeah, man, like, James Harden only has 16 points. I say only because we know that man can get you buckets, man. We know that man can drop you 50. That man can drop you 40. You know what I mean? Like, on a back-to-back daily basis. You know what I mean? Like, not just like, oh, he'll just get 51, like, on one game, and then like goes like 15 games with that, with just getting you 10 baskets or 10 points. Like, nah, man, we know James Harden is capable of dropping 40 points, 30 points, 50-point games back to back to back. And it's crazy that I mean, yeah, you really like, I guess people like to say that, oh, he's really not into the team. But at the same time, man, like, I think he's showing, well, I honestly can't say he's showing them like that he's still willing to buy for that team. Because I mean, like I said, I'm really not a Rockets fan, so I'm not into it like that. But I do know that he was wanting to go to the 76ers at first, but they canceled that obviously like that. It didn't happen. But I mean, who knows? They might be looking to move in before the trade deadline. Obviously it's a few months away. But I mean, LeBron dropping you 26 points, man. Anthony Davis dropping you 19. When you got two big men and the Rockets really don't have any, like have a big man besides Christian Wood. And I mean, like, how are you going to stop LeBron? Who's going to stop LeBron? Who's going to stop Anthony Davis when they got it going, man? Like, you really can't. They, like I said, they're showing you why they were the NBA champions. And I mean, who knows? They're really looking. They're hungry to get a back-to-back rings. Because I mean, hey, I know LeBron. He's the goat and everything like that. I mean, he's trying to shut up everybody who's saying like, nah, like that there's an asterisk on like the bubble championship. Like, oh, like he got lucky because he had a mid-season break after the obviously due to COVID and stuff like that. But hey, man, like that man to be like on his 18, no, his like 17th season, I think like that, to be still balling like that, that man is cold, bro. Like I don't know why people say that he's slowing down whenever he's constantly dropping you buckets. He's constantly giving like these really good teams trouble on the defensive, like on the offensive end. Like obviously, like, whenever like nobody can guard him. Like yeah, you can say that. Um, there's times where he doesn't show up on the defensive side, which might be true. But I mean, he's like he's going. I don't want to say he's going back to his Heat days, like on the defensive end, because obviously, like that LeBron was. I mean, that was like the start of his prime, man. Like I don't think I like that's crazy. Like to look back at his Heat days, that's crazy. But I mean, at the same time, like he's trying to get these like this new Lakers team because they got Dennis Schroeder, they got Montrezl Harrell. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to get them involved, like get him into the how do you say like trying to build that chemistry up early in the season. That way, whenever it's down the season, whenever it matters, like he's shown to you how he's shown people multiple times that whenever it comes the playoffs, he turns on that playoff mode. And I mean, once he does that, like, hey, every team got better get the fuck out the way because there ain't stopping that man. There is not stopping that man. And I said this before. They should not have given that man Anthony Davis because damn, like after that, like two big men, bro. Like, how are you stopping two big men like that? Like, who can just drive into the basket, score at ease, and then like Anthony Davis, like another good big man who stretches the floor, but at the same time can get you a basket underneath the rim. You know what I mean? Like Dennis Schroeder has been doing good, and he was a really good pickup for the Lakers. I feel like they really needed something like that. Another person who was able to create his own shot. Another person who was a decent playmaker. You know what I mean? Like, but that way all the all the playmaking, all the shot creation won't just be like on LeBron. LeBron's able to at least take some time off offensively, not like obviously not majorly, but like still like not have the offensive side all the time just run by LeBron. Because I mean, there's only a certain amount of things although he is the GOAT, and I mean, obviously, he can get you a bucket. I mean, at the same time, you don't want to get stagnant and just like constantly just like just rely on one playmaker or something like that. And well, yeah, that brings me on to the Warriors game, which is I know it's still on against the Pacers, but man, they've been looking really good ever since Draymond came back. I know like in their last 5 games, they've won like I might be wrong, but I think they've won like 3 games or something like that, like of the last 5. And I mean that's or 4 out of the last 5 actually. And I mean I think one of the losses was against the Blazers. But hey man, like a lot of people are saying like oh like Draymond Green is just like a triple single or whatever like that. He'll only get you like five points 3 assists, like whatever, whatever. But hey, man, like I know Curry is happy to have him back because obviously like playing for so long together, Draymond knows where Steph Curry likes his shots. He's a very vocal player. So obviously like if something with the Warriors isn't going right, Draymond will quickly talk about it like, hey man, I'm gonna need you to pick up on this. Hey, like I need you to go underneath the basket, drive, like you know what I mean, or like I said, he's a really good. He works really well with Curry on the pick and rolls. Trying to get Curry open on his shots. I know in the beginning of the season, it was they weren't really doing good because like obviously it's a really new Warriors team. Picking up Kelly Oubre. I mean they had Andrew Wiggins, but he didn't play with Steph Curry. And I mean James Wiseman, I feel like he's gonna make a case for the rookie of the year. I might be wrong. I might get hate for that, but like I said, he was a really good pickup for them. And I mean he's been going off lately. But like I said, I mean at the beginning of the season, it was really hard. It was really hard for Curry to get his shots off or like just to have it going on the offensive side constantly because players didn't know where he was shooting, shoot, where he would constantly shoot from, constantly get his open shots from and stuff like that, which is why he needed somebody like Draymond to be able to like to communicate. Obviously, you can say, oh, but Steph Curry, he can communicate with the team, let them know and all that stuff. But obviously, we've come to know that he's more of he's really not vocal. Yeah, he'll show his like his um his disapproval about certain things, but he's really not like that type of guy who will like talk to the players or like just yell at them, get into their faces and start yelling at them and stuff like that. Not saying that Draymond doing that is a good thing, but he does it in a way where like he lets his players like know where they're messing up without obviously like pissing them off or something like that. I mean, yeah, there was a scuffle that he had with KD like 2 years ago, and a lot of people believe that that's why he left. But I mean, like, hey man, like I feel like when you have a player like Draymond who's how do you say it who's reminding you of what you're doing wrong and on what you need to work on to continue to like well yeah like what you need to work on and stuff like well not work on but like what you have to improve like during the game. That's really nice to have because obviously like you want a communication like that, like hey man, like you're slacking, you're not picking up the screen, you're not calling this out, you're not switching fast enough, like hey, like to have that, like that's really good. That's really good to I mean and like even the win column has shown it that they really miss Draymond, or Steph at least missed Draymond because like I said, I mean he's really good at spacing the floor for Curry, not spacing because obviously like he's not really like a shooter and all that, but he knows where Curry likes to get his spots. So he'll try to have the other teammates like like hey, I'm gonna need you to come down this side while Curry obviously like runs around the whole fucking court, you know. But I mean like I said, I mean I know at least Steph Curry missed Draymond Green. But hey, man, one thing I do want to talk about, and it's crazy, and it's the Blazers versus the Raptors. I know it's the Raptors second back to back game where they lost just by a point, and I know that's gotta hurt, man. That's gotta hurt because I feel like you know what I mean, and it's both of the times. I believe that Pascal Siakam could have like scored that, excuse me, that last basket because I think it was oh shit, I don't know who, I forgot, I honestly forgot who it was against, but they he had a chance to beat them. I think it was against the Warriors. Yeah, it was against the Warriors. On he did his signature spin move that created no spacing. I don't It's crazy why he would do that. I mean, like he could have just walked up, like like just a quick. a quick a quick spot up shot at the free throw at the free throw line. And I mean, I feel like that would have given him the lead. He would have made that, but no, he decided to do a signature spin, which created no spacing. I mean, it it literally like it didn't make the defender fake. It didn't fake the defender. It didn't shake him off, or it didn't do anything on him. He literally just did the spin move and just shot, and he missed. And then yesterday against the Blazers, I mean, they try to get like they. I mean, I kind of feel, I kind of know, I kind of understand why they're doing that. Just to whenever it becomes like whenever they get back to the playoff hunt, like it allows Pascal to get used to the circumstance and be like, okay, we're down. It's the last basket. I need to make this. So you know what I mean. It gets him used to that pressure and stuff like that. But hey, man, like whenever like it's tough. Like losing by a point, it is tough. But somebody who was having himself a damn night on the fourth quarter was Melo. That man was going off, man. Like it gave you flashbacks of what he was doing back with the Knicks whenever he was doing his thing over there. A lot of people, I know a lot of people were writing him off, saying like, "Oh no, Melo's washed" and stuff like that. But like that man showed you that he can still ball. I mean, I felt like he was one of the reasons why I believe that he kept the Blazers in the game. I don't want to say that it was entirely on him because I know CJ McCollum was going off. He had himself a good here. He had himself a good 30-point night, 30-point game night. But hey man, Melo turned that switch on the fourth quarter, gave the Blazers a really good. I think he gave them the lead. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he did give them that lead, which is crazy, man. Like, I like to see that because Melo was a really good he was a really and he was a really good basketball player back in the day, but obviously he still is. But I feel like with all like the negative narratives that they, like I said, that the media portrays, like whenever he was in OKC, oh, he doesn't want to do this, he doesn't want to do that. But I mean, like, you know what I mean, like that happened like 3 years ago. So I mean, obviously you don't want to bring back stuff like that. But hey man, like I like I like my man Melo. I like to see my man Melo balling, man. Like that man had a good 20, like I said, that man had a good 20 points, 20-point night, 20-point game night. And I mean, I love to see that. I just love to see that. But one of the things that I do want to talk about, and it is about I'm moving on to the MMA segment. And one thing that I was seeing was that the WBC president outlined Conor McGregor's path to a title shot. I saw this on Twitter. He was saying how quote unquote, I would say he needs to face and defeat a ranked fighter, then he would be eligible to be ranked and to compete for a title. See, I agree with that just because his last fight with Cowboy, it didn't really prove anything. I mean, he quickly knocked him out. Like I think it was like in the first 15 to 20 seconds. I might be wrong, but I mean, it didn't really prove anything. I mean, it didn't really show you what how good Connor was or anything like that just because it was just a quick fight. I mean, but I believe like this. I think the next fight that he's gonna have is 2 weeks from now, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, which we will be talking about in the future. I say we because I have a co-host, but he's not. He wasn't available for today's episode, but he will be back on either Wednesday or Friday, which is when we post. And but yeah, man, back to Connor. I really do believe that in order for him to have, I don't want people to. I mean, I don't want to see him in a title fight right now because I mean he really hasn't proved his shot, and it takes away from people who have actually who are who do deserve it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that Connor isn't deserving of the title fight, but obviously for him to step away for like I think it was like for 2 years and then come back, no, for a year, fight, come back, fight Khabib. We saw how that went, and then leave for another year, I believe, and then come back quickly, fight Cowboy. But I mean, like I said, it didn't really prove anything. It didn't really give you like any glimpses of if Connor, like what Connor still has in the tank. I mean, obviously we know that he's a really good fighter, and I mean he'll knock anybody. Not I don't want to say anybody out, but he can damn near knock out anybody in his weight class. A lot of people might say that like, oh, he was just dodging certain fighters and stuff like that. But I mean, at the same time, he has proven you why he has proven the people on why he's a two division champion or a two belt well yeah, a two division or belt holder. And I mean, but people tend to forget, like, obviously whenever you're not constantly, fighting or doing any of that, like, people tend to forget, like Steph Curry, whenever he was injured last year, people were already writing him off, saying like, oh, he's not the best shooter, like, Damian Lillard is. And I'm not throwing any hate towards Damian because I know that man can get you a bucket too. But I mean, like it's just to show that whenever you stop seeing certain people like in the spotlight, you tend to forget. And so yeah, I believe that Connor still needs to come back, show people that he's still capable, he's still deserving of a title. And I mean, but like I said, I mean, I believe that he still needs to fight a really good fighter. And we'll see what happens whenever he fights Dustin, which will be, I believe, will be a really good fight. I know it's the rematch and stuff, but like I said, it's gonna be a really good, it's gonna be a really good fight. And we should, um, well, yeah, oh, shit, yeah, we'll be talking about that fight and more and more as as it comes closer. I don't really want to get too much into it. But yeah, guys, this concludes today's episode, or episode one at least. Thank y'all for watching. I mean, I really hope y'all enjoyed this. I know the vibe might be off a little or something like that, but bear with me. This was the very first episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please leave a like and a comment down to if you want me to talk, if you want us, like I said, it is us because I have a co-host, but he wasn't able to make it today. Please leave a comment down if you want us to get more in depth, like on your favorite player, your favorite fighter, um, just your favorite team or something like that. Like whether it's NBA, NFL, boxing, or MMA. Like I said, this is a podcast strictly just for NBA, NFL, boxing, and MMA. But like I said, this concludes today's episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please give me your feedback as I will be reading, and we will be taking that into account for our following episodes. Like I said, if you didn't like a certain thing, please bear with. I know the sound might be a little bit bad, but please bear with me as we're just getting started. Yeah, we hope to improve the quality of the podcast as the show goes on. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope y'all have a really good night.